The emergency room doors burst open with a violent crash, metal slamming concrete, and Nurse Maya Sullivan was shoved sideways into the supply cart like a piece of furniture in the way. IV bags hit the floor. A security guard didn't even glance her direction. "Move!" he barked, eyes locked on the gurney rolling past. She didn't argue, didn't raise her voice, just steadied herself and stepped back into position, silent, invisible, exactly where they wanted her. Nobody saw the way her fingers brushed her wrist. Nobody noticed the way her eyes tracked the blood splatter pattern on the gurney rail, calculated entry wound trajectory, estimated blood loss in under 2 seconds. They saw a nurse. She saw a battlefield. And in exactly 11 minutes, the man who shoved her would be on his knees begging her not to let him bleed out. If you want to see how a dismissed nurse brought an entire hospital and a military chain of command to its knees, stay with me until the end. Drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. Let's go. The fluorescent lights in Mercy Ridge Hospital's emergency wing buzzed like wasps trapped in glass. Maya Sullivan stood near the nurse's station, hands clasped in front of her, posture neutral, breathing even. Her scrubs were plain blue, no hospital logo, no name tag with years of service printed underneath. Her hair was pulled back in a tight bun, no jewelry, no makeup. Nothing that said, "Look at me," which was exactly how she wanted it. "Excuse me, nurse?" A young resident with a tablet brushed past her, didn't wait for a response. "We need Crash Cart 2 prepped in Trauma Bay 1. Someone should have done that an hour ago." Maya glanced at the cart, already prepped. She'd done it herself 20 minutes earlier. She opened her mouth, then closed it. The resident was already gone. Across the hall, Dr. Peter Langford stood with his arms crossed, white coat pristine, stethoscope draped like a trophy. He was talking to a cluster of medical students, voice loud enough to carry. Speed matters, but protocol matters more. You don't cowboy your way through a trauma. You follow the chain. You defer to experience. He glanced at Maya for half a second, dismissive. "Not everyone here understands that." One of the students laughed. Maya didn't react. She'd heard worse. Dr. Langford had made it clear from day one that he didn't like her, didn't trust her credentials, didn't care that she had more trauma hours than most of his attendings combined. To him, she was a transfer nurse from some rural clinic nobody had heard of, probably got her certification online, probably here because she couldn't cut it anywhere else. He wasn't entirely wrong about the rural part. Her file said she'd worked at a small urgent care facility in northern Montana for the past 18 months. Quiet. Unremarkable. No drama. What the file didn't say was what she'd done before that. Maya checked her watch. 14:47. Shift change in 13 minutes. She could make it through. Keep her head down. Stay out of the way. Exactly what her orders were. Then the radio on the security desk crackled. "Incoming, GSW to the chest, ETA 4 minutes. Male, late 30s, unresponsive. Possible VIP status." Repeat, possible VIP. The entire ER shifted. Nurses moved. Residents snapped to attention. Dr. Langford strode toward Trauma 1 like he owned the building. "Clear the bay," he barked. "I want a full team. Where's anesthesia?" "On the way," someone called. "Respiratory? 2 minutes out. Someone get me a proper trauma nurse, not—" He stopped mid-sentence, eyes landing on Maya. "You, coffee station. Now. We don't need extra bodies cluttering the room." Maya didn't move. "Did you hear me?" Langford's voice sharpened. "I said move." She met his eyes. Calm. Unflinching. "I'm assigned to Trauma 1 today, doctor." "Not anymore." He turned to the charge nurse. "Get her out of here. I want Denise or Marcus. Someone who knows what they're doing." The charge nurse hesitated, glanced at Maya. "She's actually certified for— I don't care what her paper says. This is a high-priority case. I'm not risking it on some transfer nobody's ever heard of." Maya's jaw tightened, just slightly. Enough that someone paying attention might have noticed. Nobody was paying attention. She stepped back, hands still loose, breathing still even. "Understood," she said quietly. Langford was already gone. The ambulance screamed into the bay. Paramedics hauled the gurney through the doors, chest compressions in progress, blood soaking through the trauma dressing, monitors beeping erratic warnings. "GSW, right upper chest," the lead paramedic shouted. Entry wound near the clavicle, no exit. Vitals tanking. We've been bagging him for 3 minutes. Dr. Langford took one look and started firing orders. Get him on the table. I want 2 large-bore IVs, type and cross, portable X-ray on standby. Move. The team swarmed, hands everywhere, controlled chaos. Maya stood near the supply closet, watching. She counted the compressions, watched the rhythm, noted the angle of the paramedic's hands, too high, ribs would crack before they got effective compression. Noted the blood pooling under the patient's left shoulder blade, internal bleed, likely nicked subclavian artery. Noted the way his lips were turning blue despite the oxygen mask. He wasn't going to make it. Not like this. Langford was shouting at a resident. I said large bore, not a damn 22 gauge. Do you want him to bleed out while you're fumbling? The resident's hands shook. The IV missed. Maya's fingers twitched. She stayed where she was. Then the doors opened again. A man in a black suit walked in. Tall, buzz cut, earpiece visible. Military bearing so obvious he might as well have been wearing the uniform. Behind him, 2 more men in identical suits. One carried a tablet, the other had his hand near his hip, where a sidearm would be. The lead man scanned the room, eyes sharp, professional. Then he saw the gurney. His expression didn't change, but Maya saw the way his shoulders tensed. Status, he said. Not a question. A command. Langford glanced up, irritated. Who the hell are you? Agent Keller, DOD. That man is a federal asset. What's his status? Unstable. GSW to the chest. We're working on it. How long until he's stable? Langford's jaw clenched. I don't answer to you. This is my ER. Keller stepped closer. His voice dropped. Doctor, I'm not asking. That man is involved in an active national security operation. If he dies, this hospital becomes a crime scene and you become a witness. So I'll ask again, what's his status? Langford's face flushed. We're doing everything we can. That's not an answer. Maya watched the exchange, watched the way Keller's eyes flicked to the monitors, the way his hand moved fractionally toward his earpiece, the way he assessed the room like he was calculating exit routes. She'd seen that look before. On base, in field hospitals, in places where the stakes weren't just medical. The patient's monitor started screaming, VFib. He's crashing, someone shouted. Langford grabbed the defibrillator paddles. Charging to 200, clear. Shock delivered. The body jerked. No change. Again, 300, clear. Another jolt, still nothing. Keller's hand went to his earpiece. We have a code blue. Subject is unresponsive. Repeat, unresponsive. Maya's heart rate didn't change, but her eyes narrowed. She saw it. The way the resident had placed the IV line, too lateral, the way the blood wasn't flowing right, the way Langford was so focused on the defibrillator that he wasn't seeing the real problem. The patient wasn't in VFib because his heart stopped. He was in VFib because his chest cavity was filling with blood and crushing his heart. Tension, pneumothorax. Maybe hemothorax. Either way, no amount of shocking was going to fix it. She took one step forward. Langford saw her. I told you to stay out of this. He needs a chest tube. I know what he needs. Then why haven't you placed one? The room went silent. Langford's face turned red. Get out. Maya didn't move. His trachea is deviating. Breath sounds are absent on the right side. If you don't decompress that chest in the next 60 seconds, he's dead. I don't take orders from a nurse who doesn't know her place. Then don't take orders, just look at him. Langford turned back to the patient. His eyes flicked to the neck, the chest, the monitor. He hesitated, just for a second, but Maya saw it. Keller saw it too. Do it, Keller said. Langford shot him a glare. This is my call. Then make it, now. The monitor flatlined. Maya moved. She didn't ask permission, didn't wait for approval. She crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed a 14-gauge needle from the crash cart, and positioned herself at the patient's side. Stop! Langford lunged toward her. She didn't stop. One hand found the second intercostal space, mid-clavicular line. She felt for the landmark, angled the needle, and pushed. The release was immediate. A hiss of air escaped. The patient's chest wall collapsed slightly. The monitor beeped, chaotic, but not flatline. Langford froze. The resident stared. Keller's expression didn't change, but his hand moved away from his earpiece. Maya withdrew the needle, grabbed a chest tube kit, and started prepping the insertion site. Her hands moved fast, precise. No hesitation. "Scalpel," she said. Nobody moved. "Scalpel," she repeated. Louder. A nurse handed it to her. She made the incision, inserted the tube, connected it to suction. Blood and air drained immediately. The monitor stabilized. The patient's color started to return. Maya stepped back. Her hands were steady. Her breathing was calm. She looked at Langford. He was staring at her like she'd just materialized out of thin air. "You're welcome," she said quietly. Then she turned and walked out of the trauma bay. But Keller found her 10 minutes later. She was in the staff lounge, washing her hands at the sink. Methodical, thorough, no rush. "That was impressive," he said. She didn't look up. "That was basic." "Not the way you did it." She dried her hands, tossed the paper towel, met his eyes. "He's stable?" she asked. "For now." "Good." Keller studied her. "You're not a regular nurse." "I'm a nurse." "That's not what I asked." She didn't answer. He stepped closer, lowered his voice. "I know a field medic when I see one. I also know that nobody moves like that unless they've done it under fire. So I'll ask once, who are you really?" Maya tilted her head slightly. "You already ran my file." "I ran the file you gave the hospital. That's not the same thing." She almost smiled. Almost. "If you have questions, take them up with your chain of command." Keller's jaw tightened. "I will." "Good luck with that." She walked past him. He didn't stop her. By the time Maya's shift ended, the hospital was buzzing. Word had spread. The nurse nobody trusted had just saved a federal asset in front of a room full of doctors who froze. Dr. Langford hadn't said a word to her since, hadn't even looked her direction. That was fine. She clocked out, grabbed her jacket, and headed for the exit. The night air was cool, quiet. She walked across the parking lot, keys in hand, mind already shifting gears. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. "Sullivan," a voice she recognized immediately. Calm, direct, military. "Status? Asset stable, cover intact, no complications." "Langford? Contained, he doesn't know anything." "And Keller?" Maya paused. "He's suspicious." "How suspicious?" "Enough to ask questions, not enough to get answers." A pause on the other end, then, "We're moving up the timeline. You're about to get a lot more attention. Be ready." The line went dead. Maya stood in the parking lot, phone still in her hand, city lights flickering in the distance. She took a slow breath. Then she got in her car and drove away. Behind her, inside the hospital, Keller was making a call of his own. "I need a full background check. Name, Maya Sullivan, nurse. Transferred here 3 weeks ago. I want everything. Education, work history, financial records, known associates, and I want it flagged priority." "On what grounds?" Keller glanced back toward the ER. "On the grounds that she just performed a battlefield procedure in a civilian hospital and didn't break a sweat." Silence. Then, "I'll escalate it." Keller hung up. Across the hospital, in a locked administrator's office, a file was being pulled. Not the one HR had, the real one. And at the top, in red letters, classified, do not distribute. Underneath, a name. Not Maya Sullivan. Captain Elena Reeves, former Special Operations Combat Medic, current status, deep cover. Mission objective: identify and neutralize internal security threat within Mercy Ridge Hospital linked to the trafficking of classified military patients. The clock was ticking. And the people who thought Maya Sullivan was just a nurse were about to learn exactly how wrong they were. The file sat on Colonel Marcus Brennan's desk at 0600 the next morning, still warm from the printer. He didn't open it right away, just stared at the red stamp across the cover like it might explode if he touched it wrong. Classified. Do not distribute. His office was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of silence that meant someone upstream had already made decisions he wasn't going to like. He flipped it open. The first page was a personnel record. Standard military format. Name, rank, service history. Captain Elena Reeves. He'd never heard of her. That was the point. The second page was a mission brief. Embedded operative, deep cover. Objective, identify and neutralize an internal threat at Mercy Ridge Hospital related to the unlawful transfer of classified military patients to foreign intelligence networks. Brennan's jaw tightened. The third page was a surveillance log. Dates, times, names. His name was on it. So was Agent Keller's. So was Dr. Peter Langford's. He closed the file, leaned back in his chair, rubbed his temples. Someone had put a trained special operations medic inside a civilian hospital without telling him. Someone had been running an investigation under his nose for 3 weeks. And now someone was about to blow the whole thing wide open because a federal agent got too curious. His phone rang. He answered without looking at the screen. "Brennan, we have a problem." The voice on the other end was clipped. Female. Command-level authority. "I'm looking at it." "Then you know we're accelerating." "I know you didn't clear this with me." "I don't need to clear it with you, Colonel. You're asset support, not operational command." Brennan's hand tightened on the phone. "You put one of my people in play without telling me. That's not support. That's sabotage. Your people." The voice turned cold. "Captain Reeves hasn't been your people for 2 years. She's been mine. And if you have a problem with how I run my operations, take it up with the Pentagon." The line went dead. Brennan sat in silence for a long moment. Then he opened the file again, flipped to the last page. A photograph. Maya Sullivan, or Elena Reeves, or whoever the hell she was today, standing in the Mercy Ridge ER, hands clasped in front of her, face neutral, eyes down, except the eyes weren't down. Not really. They were scanning, calculating, watching everything. He'd seen that look before. On operators who'd been in the field too long, people who couldn't turn it off anymore, people who were dangerous. He picked up his phone and dialed a different number. It rang twice. "Keller, we need to talk." There was a pause. "About what?" "About the nurse you're investigating." Another pause, longer this time. "How do you know about that?" "Because I just got read into something I should have been read into 3 weeks ago. And if you keep digging, you're going to step on a landmine." "I'm already on it, Colonel. I pulled her background. Something's off. Her credentials don't match the timelines, her references don't check out. And the way she moved yesterday, I know." "You know?" "I know who she is. I know why she's there. And I know that if you keep asking questions, you're going to compromise an active operation." Keller's voice hardened. "What kind of operation?" "The kind you don't get briefed on unless you're cleared for it, which you're not. That man she saved yesterday is a federal asset under my protection. If there's an operation involving him, I have a right to know." "No," Brennan said quietly. "You don't." The line went silent. Then Keller spoke again, slower. "Are you telling me to stand down?" "I'm telling you to be smart." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one you're getting." Brennan hung up. He stared at the file for another moment. Then he slid it into his desk drawer, locked it, and walked out. Across the city, Maya was already awake. She sat at the small kitchen table in her apartment, laptop open, coffee untouched. The place was sparse, functional. No photos, no personal items. The kind of space someone lived in when they knew they weren't staying long. On the screen in front of her, a secure chat window blinked. "Handler, status update." She typed without hesitation. "Reeves. Cover intact, asset stable. Federal agent suspicious but contained. No direct exposure." Handler. "Keller ran a background check on you last night." Maya's fingers paused over the keyboard. "Reeves. How deep?" Handler. "Surface level. He got the legend. Nothing flagged yet, but he's persistent." Reeves. "Recommendations?" Handler. "Stay in character. Let him dig. If he gets too close, we'll redirect." Reeves. "And if he doesn't redirect?" Handler. "Then we pull you out and burn the whole operation." Maya stared at the screen. Reeves. "Understood." Handler. "One more thing. The asset you saved yesterday? His name is Marcus Holt, former Marine intelligence officer. He was transporting classified material when he was shot. We don't know who pulled the trigger yet, but we know it wasn't random." Reeves. "Inside job." Handler. "We're working on it. Stay sharp. If someone inside that hospital is compromised, they're going to be watching you now. The chat window closed. Maya shut the laptop, picked up her coffee. It was cold. She drank it anyway. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. You saved my life yesterday. I owe you a conversation. Holt. She stared at the message, deleted it, then got dressed for her shift. The hospital felt different when she walked in that morning. The looks were longer. The whispers were louder. A few nurses nodded at her in the hallway. One even smiled. Dr. Langford didn't. He was at the nurses' station when she clocked in, arms crossed, face like granite. He didn't say anything, just watched her. She didn't acknowledge him. The charge nurse approached her with a tablet. You're assigned to ICU today. Bed 12, post-op monitoring. Maya glanced at the screen. Patient name? Marcus Holt. She kept her expression neutral. Understood. The charge nurse hesitated. Look, I don't know what happened yesterday, but people are talking. Langford's pissed. Just watch yourself. Always do. The ICU was quieter than the ER. Controlled, sterile. Machines beeped in steady rhythms. Curtains hung between beds. Privacy was an illusion, but it was something. Bed 12 was in the far corner. Marcus Holt was awake. He was propped up at a slight angle, chest wrapped in bandages, IV lines running from both arms, oxygen cannula in his nose. His face was pale, but his eyes were sharp. Too sharp. Maya approached the bed, checked the monitor, made notes on the chart. Professional. Detached. You're the one who stuck a needle in my chest, Holt said. She didn't look at him. You're welcome. I didn't say thank you. I noticed. He smiled, just a little. Fair enough, thank you. She glanced at him. How are you feeling? Like I got shot. That's accurate. He shifted slightly, winced. The doctor said I shouldn't be alive. Said if you hadn't done what you did, I would have been dead before they got the chest tube in. They're not wrong. So why'd you do it? She paused, looked at him directly. Because it was my job. Your job is to follow orders. You went against a doctor in the middle of a trauma. That's not protocol. Protocol was going to kill you. And you knew that how? She didn't answer. Holt studied her. You've done this before. I'm a nurse. You're not just a nurse. Maya's expression didn't change. You should rest. Your body's been through a lot. My body's been through worse. I'm sure it has. She turned to leave. Agent Keller thinks you're hiding something, Holt said. She stopped. Didn't turn around. He asked me about you this morning, Holt continued. Wanted to know if I recognized you, if I'd ever seen you before, if I thought you were… What did he say? Unusual. What did you tell him? I told him you saved my life, and that's all I care about. Maya turned slowly, met his eyes. But that's not true, is it? Holt said quietly. You do care. Because you're asking me what I told him, which means you're worried about what he knows. She walked back to the bed, leaned in just slightly. Mr. Holt, I don't know what you think you know, but I'm going to give you some advice. Stop asking questions, stop digging, and stop trying to figure me out, because the answers aren't going to help you. Maybe I don't need help. Everyone needs help. She straightened, adjusted his IV line. Get some rest. I'll check on you in an hour. She walked out before he could respond. 2 beds down, behind a curtain, a man in a visitor's chair watched her leave. He was dressed in casual clothes, jeans, jacket, baseball cap pulled low. He had a magazine in his lap, unopened. His eyes followed her all the way to the door. Then he pulled out his phone and sent a text. She just made contact with Holt. Conversation lasted 2 minutes. No visible exchange. Moving to next phase. The response came back immediately. Confirmed. Proceed. By midday, the tension in the hospital had shifted. It wasn't just whispers anymore. It was meetings behind closed doors, security sweeps, federal agents in the lobby. Maya noticed. So did everyone else. She was in the supply room restocking when the door opened behind her. She didn't turn around, just kept working. We need to talk. Agent Keller's voice. She placed a box of gloves on the shelf. About what? About who you really are. She turned. Keller was standing in the doorway, arms crossed, blocking the exit. "I'm a nurse," she said. "You're a liar." She didn't flinch. "That's a strong accusation." "I ran your background. Your nursing license was issued 18 months ago. Before that, nothing. No work history, no tax records, no social media. It's like you didn't exist before Montana." "Some people value privacy. Some people have something to hide." She met his eyes, calm, unflinching. "If you have a problem with my credentials, take it up with HR. I already did. They said everything checks out, but that's the thing. It checks out too well. Perfect references, perfect scores, perfect timelines. Nobody's that clean. Maybe I'm just good at my job. Or maybe someone built you a legend." The word hung in the air between them. Maya didn't react. Keller stepped closer. "I know what a cover identity looks like. I've run enough of them. And yours? It's textbook, which means someone with resources put you here, and I want to know why. You're paranoid." "I'm careful. There's a difference." She turned back to the shelf. "Are we done?" "No." He moved beside her, lowered his voice. "The man you saved yesterday is connected to a federal investigation. Someone tried to kill him, and now you, someone who doesn't exist, just happens to be the one who saves him. That's not coincidence." "Sometimes it is." "Not in my line of work." She faced him again. "Agent Keller, I don't know what you think is going on, but I'm a nurse. I do my job. I go home. That's it." "Then why won't you look me in the eye when you say that?" She held his gaze, didn't blink. "Because I don't owe you an explanation." Keller's jaw tightened. "You will eventually." "Maybe." She walked past him. He didn't stop her, but as she stepped into the hallway, she saw it. The man from the ICU, the one with the magazine. He was standing near the elevators, watching. Their eyes met for half a second. Then he turned and walked away. Maya's pulse didn't change. Her breathing stayed even, but her hand moved to her pocket, felt for the small device she kept there. Emergency beacon. One press and extraction would be on site in under 10 minutes. She didn't press it, not yet. She went back to work. The rest of the shift passed in a blur of routine tasks that felt anything but routine. Every face she passed could be a threat. Every conversation could be surveillance. Maya had been trained to operate in hostile environments, but this was different. In a war zone, you knew who the enemy was. Here, they wore scrubs and white coats and visitor badges. She checked on Holt twice more. Each time, he was asleep, or pretending to be. She couldn't tell which. The man with the magazine was gone, but someone else had taken his place. A woman this time, mid-40s, dressed like a pharmaceutical rep. Clipboard. Smile that didn't reach her eyes. Maya made a mental note. At 1800 hours, her shift ended. She clocked out, grabbed her jacket, and headed for the parking garage. The evening air was cool. The sky was turning purple at the edges. She walked slowly, hands in her pockets, eyes tracking every car, every shadow, every exit. Her car was on level 2. She approached it carefully, checked the wheel wells, the undercarriage, the door seals. No explosives, no tracking devices. She got in, started the engine, pulled out. 3 blocks from the hospital, she noticed the tail. Black sedan. 2 cars back. Changed lanes when she did. Matched her speed. She took a left. So did they. She took another left. Circled the block. They stayed with her. Maya's hand stayed loose on the wheel. Her breathing stayed even. But her mind was calculating. Distance. Options. Escape routes. She couldn't lead them to her apartment. Couldn't risk a confrontation in a populated area. She needed leverage. She pulled out her phone. Dialed a number she'd memorized but never called. It rang once. "Yes," Colonel Brennan's voice. Clipped, professional. "It's Reeves. I've got a tail. Black sedan. 2 occupants. They've been on me since I left the hospital." A pause. "Can you lose them?" "I can, but I'd rather know who they are first. Pull into the parking lot at Riverside and 5th. There's a coffee shop, public, cameras. They won't try anything there. And then what? I'll handle it." The line went dead. Maya changed course, headed for Riverside. The sedan stayed with her. 5 minutes later, she pulled into the coffee shop parking lot. Bright lights, people inside, safe. She parked near the entrance, got out, walked inside without looking back, ordered a coffee she didn't want, sat by the window. The black sedan pulled in 30 seconds later, parked 3 spaces away. 2 men got out, both in suits. Both too stiff to be civilians. They didn't come inside, just watched. Maya sipped her coffee, checked her watch. 3 minutes passed. Then a third car pulled into the lot. Military plates. 2 uniformed MPs got out, walked straight to the black sedan. Maya couldn't hear the conversation, but she saw the body language. The MPs were in charge. The men in suits were backing down. One of them pulled out a phone, made a call. His face went pale. The MPs escorted both men to their vehicle, took their IDs, ran them. 10 minutes later, the black sedan drove away. The MPs didn't. One of them walked into the coffee shop. Young, clean-cut, nervous. He approached Maya's table. "Ma'am, Colonel Brennan asked me to deliver a message." "I'm listening." "He said to tell you the tail has been neutralized. They were private contractors, not military, not federal. Someone hired them to follow you." "Did they say who?" "No, ma'am. They lawyered up immediately." Maya nodded. "Thank you." The MP hesitated. "He also said you should consider coming in, that operating alone is getting too dangerous. Tell the colonel I appreciate his concern." "That's not a yes, ma'am." "I know." The MP left. Maya finished her coffee, waited another 20 minutes, then drove home. Her apartment was exactly as she'd left it. She checked anyway. Every room, every closet, every window, clear. She locked the door, drew the blinds, sat on the couch with her laptop. The secure chat window was already open. Handler: "Brennan intervened on your behalf tonight. That wasn't protocol." Reeves: "I didn't ask him to." Handler: "Doesn't matter. It's a complication. He's asking questions. So is Keller. So are people we haven't identified yet. Your cover is deteriorating?" Reeves: "I can manage it." Handler: "Can you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're one bad decision away from getting burned, or worse." Maya stared at the screen. Reeves: "What are you saying?" Handler: "I'm saying we might need to pull you out, abort the mission, start over with someone else." Reeves: "No." Handler: "That's not your call." Reeves: "I'm close. Holt is the key. Someone inside that hospital tried to kill him, someone connected to the trafficking network. If I leave now, we lose the trail." Handler: "If you stay, we might lose you." Reeves: "I've been in worse situations." Handler: "Not like this. This isn't a war zone. You can't shoot your way out. You can't call in air support. If they expose you, you're alone." Reeves: "I'm always alone." A long pause, then Handler: 48 hours. That's all you get. If you don't have actionable intelligence by then, we're pulling you out. Non-negotiable. The chat window closed. Maya shut the laptop. 48 hours. She could work with that. That night, Marcus Holt was moved. No warning, no explanation. Maya found out when she arrived for her shift the next morning. She checked the ICU board. Bed 12 was listed as unoccupied. She pulled up the patient log. Transfer orders signed at 0300 hours. Destination, undisclosed. She walked to the nurse's station. "Where's Holt?" The charge nurse looked uncomfortable. "He was transferred." "By who?" "I don't know. Federal orders. They didn't tell us anything. 2 agents came in the middle of the night with paperwork. Security cleared them. He was gone in 15 minutes. Maya's stomach tightened. "Which agents?" "I didn't get names. They had badges. DOD, I think. Maybe DOJ. It all looks the same to me." Maya pulled out her phone, stepped into the stairwell, dialed the secure line. It rang 4 times. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. That wasn't protocol. Her handler always answered. She stood in the stairwell, phone in hand, mind racing. Then her phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. "If you want to know where Holt went, meet me in parking garage level 3. Southeast corner, 2100 hours. Come alone. Keller." She stared at the message. This was a trap. Had to be, but it was also her only lead. She deleted the message, checked her watch. 12 hours until the meet. She went back to work. The day dragged. Every minute felt like an hour. Maya went through the motions, checked vitals, administered meds, smiled at patients who didn't know she was calculating exit routes and threat assessments with every breath. Dr. Langford passed her in the hallway twice, didn't say a word, just stared. At 1400 hours, the pharmaceutical rep from yesterday reappeared. Same clipboard, same smile. She approached the nurse's station. "Excuse me, I'm looking for the ICU coordinator. I have some samples to drop off." The charge nurse pointed her down the hall. The woman walked past Maya without looking at her, but Maya noticed the way her hand moved to her pocket, the way her eyes flicked to the security camera, the way she walked like someone who knew exactly where she was going. Maya followed her, not close, not obvious, just enough to keep her in sight. The woman turned into a restricted hallway. Staff only, no patients. Maya waited 10 seconds, then followed. The hallway was empty. No pharmaceutical rep. No one. Just a service door at the far end, slightly ajar. Maya approached it slowly, listened. Voices. Low. Urgent. She couldn't make out words, but she recognized one of the voices. Dr. Langford. She pulled out her phone, started recording. The voices got louder. "Don't care what your timeline is. You said this would be clean. You said no one would ask questions. Now I've got federal agents crawling all over my hospital and a nurse who's too smart for her own good. The nurse is being handled. Handled how? You don't need to know. The hell I don't. If this blows back on me, it won't. As long as you keep your mouth shut and do what you're told." Silence. Then Langford again. "What about Holt? He's been relocated. Secure facility. He won't be a problem. And the intel he was carrying? Gone. We made sure of it. Then why are we still having this conversation? Because there's a new complication. Someone upstream is asking questions, someone with clearance, and if they dig deep enough, they're going to find things we don't want them to find." "Like what?" "Like the fact that you've been signing off on patient transfers that never made it to their destination. Like the fact that we've been using your hospital as a pipeline for over a year. Like the fact that you've been paid very well to look the other way." Maya's pulse quickened. This was it, the confirmation she needed. She kept recording. "What do you want me to do?" Langford's voice was quieter now, scared. "Nothing. Just keep doing your job. And if anyone asks about Holt, you don't know anything. He was transferred. That's all you know." "And the nurse? Sullivan? We'll take care of her." "How?" "That's not your concern." Footsteps, coming toward the door. Maya turned and walked quickly back down the hallway, slipped into a supply closet, held her breath. The door opened. 2 sets of footsteps. Langford and someone else. They passed the closet without stopping. Maya waited until the footsteps faded, then stepped out. Her phone was still recording. She stopped it, saved the file, encrypted it, sent it to her handler. Then she checked the time. 6 hours until the meeting with Keller. She needed to be ready. At 20:45 hours, Maya left the hospital, took a different route to the parking garage, entered through the north stairwell instead of the main entrance. Level 3 was almost empty, just a few cars scattered across the expanse of concrete. The overhead lights flickered. The air smelled like oil and exhaust. She walked toward the southeast corner, hands loose, eyes scanning. Keller was already there, leaning against a pillar, alone. She stopped 15 feet away. "You came," he said. "Where's Holt?" "Safe." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I'm giving until you tell me the truth." "I don't know what you're talking about." Keller pushed off the pillar. "You're military. I confirmed it 3 hours ago. Former Special Operations Combat Medic. Honorable discharge 2 years ago, except the discharge was a cover. You never left. You just went dark." Maya didn't move. "Your real name is Elena Reeves," Keller continued. "Captain, you've been running Black Ops for the DoD ever since you left the service. And right now you're embedded here under a false identity. The question is why?" She stayed silent. "Marcus Holt was carrying classified intel when he was shot," Keller said. "Someone inside this hospital tried to finish the job. And you stopped them, which means either you're part of the same operation he is, or you're the one who set him up. If I set him up, why would I save him? To gain trust, to get access, to cover your tracks." She almost laughed. "You think I'm compromised. I think you're a variable I can't control. and that makes you dangerous. Then why am I still standing here? Keller's expression didn't change. Because I need you to tell me what's really going on before more people die. Maya took a slow breath, weighed her options. Then she heard it. Footsteps. Multiple. Coming from different directions. Keller heard it too. His hand moved toward his hip. Maya turned. 4 men stepped out of the shadows. Not security. Not hospital staff. They were dressed like civilians, but they moved like operators. The lead man smiled. Captain Reeves, been looking for you. Keller drew his weapon. Identify yourselves. The man didn't look at him. Kept his eyes on Maya. We don't answer to you. Then you're trespassing. Get out before I call backup. Your backup won't help you. Keller's finger moved to the trigger. Last warning. The man raised his hand. 2 of the others drew suppressed pistols. Maya moved first. She closed the distance to Keller in 2 steps, grabbed his arm, yanked him behind the concrete pillar as the first shots hit the wall where his head had been. Keller fired back. 3 rounds. Center mass. The lead man dropped. The others scattered, took cover behind cars. Maya pulled Keller toward the stairwell. Move! Who the hell are they? The people trying to kill Holt. And now us. They ran. More shots. Glass shattered. Concrete exploded. Maya reached the stairwell door first, kicked it open. Keller followed. They took the stairs 2 at a time. Up, not down. Where are we going? Keller shouted. Roof. There's a relay station. I can call extraction. Extraction from who? People who actually have clearance. They hit the roof access door, locked. Maya didn't slow down, pulled a small tool from her pocket. Bypass key. Military issue. The door clicked open. They burst onto the roof. Wind hit them hard. City lights stretched out below. Maya ran to the far corner, found the relay box mounted on the HVAC unit, opened it, started entering codes. Keller stood guard, weapon raised, eyes on the door. How long? He asked. 90 seconds. We don't have 90 seconds. The roof door exploded open. 2 men rushed through. Keller fired, dropped one. The other took cover. Maya's fingers flew over the keypad. The relay beeped. Green light. Signal sent. Extraction en route. ETA 8 minutes. We're not lasting 8 minutes, Keller said. Maya grabbed a piece of rebar from the rooftop debris, threw it hard at the HVAC unit on the far side. The sound echoed. The remaining shooter turned toward the noise. Keller put 2 rounds in him. Silence. Then more footsteps. From the stairwell. There's more, Keller said. Maya pulled him toward the edge of the building. Jump. What? Next building, 6 feet. We can make it. Are you insane? You have a better idea? More shots. Closer. Keller looked at the gap. Looked at her. If I die, I'm blaming you. Get in line. They ran, hit the edge, jumped. For 1 second, there was nothing but air and city lights and the sound of wind rushing past. Then they hit the next rooftop, hard. Maya rolled, came up running, looked back. Keller was on his knees, grimacing. You hurt? Twisted ankle, I'm good. Go. She grabbed his arm, hauled him up. Together. Behind them, the shooters reached the edge, stopped, didn't jump. One of them raised his weapon. Maya and Keller dove behind an air conditioning unit as bullets sparked off metal. They kept moving, across the roof, down the fire escape, into an alley. They didn't stop until they were 4 blocks away. Keller leaned against a wall, breathing hard, blood on his pants from where he'd scraped his leg. What the hell just happened? Maya checked her phone, encrypted message. Extraction aborted, position compromised. Go dark. New orders incoming. She looked at Keller. We're on our own. His face went pale. What do you mean on our own? I mean whoever just tried to kill us has reach. They knew I'd call for extraction. They knew where the relay was. They were waiting. Inside job? Has to be. Keller holstered his weapon. Then who can we trust? No one. That's not helpful. It's honest. He leaned his head back against the brick, closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, they were harder. Okay, new plan. We find Holt, we figure out who's behind this, and we burn them down. Just like that? You have a better idea? Maya almost smiled. No. Her phone buzzed. New message, not encrypted, not secure, just a photo. It was Marcus Holt tied to a chair, bruised, bleeding. And underneath the photo, one line of text. You have 12 hours to deliver Captain Reeves, or he dies screaming. Keller stared at the photo on Maya's phone. His face went from pale to red in about 3 seconds. They have him. Maya didn't answer, just studied the image. The chair Holt was tied to, metal frame, industrial. The floor, concrete with drainage grooves. The lighting, harsh fluorescent, probably overhead fixtures. The bruising on Holt's face was fresh, less than 6 hours old. Can you trace it? Keller asked. No metadata. Scrubbed clean. She zoomed in on the background. There was a partial logo visible on the wall behind Holt. Blue and white. Corporate looking. But whoever took this photo wanted us to see something. What? She turned the phone toward him, pointed at the logo. That's a hospital maintenance company, Meridian Services. They contract with half the medical facilities in the state. So he could be anywhere, or he could still be close. She pulled up a search on her phone, typed fast. Meridian has a warehouse facility 6 miles from Mercy Ridge. They use it for equipment storage and repairs. That's a guess. It's a starting point. Keller pushed off the wall. His ankle was swelling. He tried not to limp. Failed. We can't just walk in there. I know. We don't have backup. We don't have resources. We don't even know how many hostiles we're dealing with. I know. And they want you, which means this is a trap. Maya pocketed her phone. I know that too. So what's the plan? She started walking. Give them what they want. Keller caught up to her, grabbed her arm. You're not serious. I'm completely serious. They'll kill you. Maybe. That's not a plan. That's suicide. She pulled her arm free. They gave us 12 hours. That means they need time for something. Interrogation, extraction, transport. Whatever it is, they're not in a rush, which means they're confident. And confident people make mistakes. Or they have overwhelming force and don't need to rush. Then we'd already be dead. Keller opened his mouth, closed it. You've done this before. Yes. How many times? Enough to know that the people who take hostages usually want something more than just the hostage. They reached the mouth of the alley. The street beyond was quiet, late-night traffic, distant sirens. We need weapons, Keller said. I have weapons. Where? Somewhere safe. How safe? Safe enough. They walked 3 more blocks in silence. Maya kept checking their 6. No tail, no surveillance. Either they'd lost their pursuers, or the pursuers were confident enough to let them run. Neither option was comforting. Maya led them to a storage facility on the east side. 24-hour access. Cameras at the entrance, but not the interior corridors. She used a key card. The gate rolled open. Unit 247 was in the back corner. Climate controlled, no windows. She unlocked it, pulled the door up. Inside was a workbench. Footlocker. Tactical gear hanging on hooks. Keller stepped in behind her, whistled low. This is not a nurse's storage unit. No, Maya said. It's not. She opened the footlocker. Inside, 2 handguns, 1 rifle, ammunition, body armor, medkit, communications equipment, and a laptop. She handed Keller one of the handguns. You know how to use this? I'm a federal agent. That's not an answer. Yes, I know how to use it. She took the other handgun, checked the magazine, full. Chambered around, holstered it, then pulled on the body armor, lightweight, Kevlar weave, civilian looking enough to hide under a jacket. Keller did the same. What's the play? Maya opened the laptop, logged into a secure server, pulled up building schematics for the Meridian warehouse. The facility has 3 entry points: main loading dock, side personnel door, roof access via external ladder. Security? Basic. Cameras. Motion sensors. No armed guards on file. That you know of. That I know of, she agreed. She pulled up satellite imagery. The warehouse was isolated. Industrial zone. No residential nearby. Nearest commercial property was a quarter-mile away. Perfect place to hold someone. Perfect place for an ambush. We go in quiet, Maya said. Roof access. Find Holt. Extract. Avoid contact if possible. And if contact isn't avoidable, she met his eyes, then we make it fast. They geared up, comms, extra magazines, the rifle stayed in the locker, too conspicuous. Maya grabbed the med kit. Keller took a flashlight and a tactical knife. One more thing, Maya said. She pulled a small device from the footlocker. Looked like a car key fob. Emergency beacon, military grade. If I press this, a rapid response team will be on site in under 15 minutes. I thought you said extraction was compromised. I said my handler was compromised. This goes to a different channel, completely off book. How off book? The kind that doesn't get reported, the kind that gets people court-martialed if it goes wrong. Keller stared at the device. And you're willing to risk that? For Holt? Yes. Why? You don't even know him. Maya's jaw tightened. Because he's one of mine, and I don't leave my people behind. They drove to the warehouse in Keller's car. He'd left it parked 4 blocks from the hospital. It was a sedan. Government issue. Boring enough to be invisible. Maya rode shotgun. Checked her weapon 3 more times. Muscle memory, combat ritual. Keller noticed. You always this nervous before an op? I'm not nervous. Your hands say different. She stopped checking the gun. When's the last time you were in a firefight? 2 years ago, armed robbery, suspect opened fire in a grocery store. How'd it end? I put him down. Clean? Clean enough. Maya nodded. This won't be clean. I know. They drove in silence for a while. The city gave way to industrial sprawl, warehouses, freight yards, chain-link fences topped with barbed wire. Can I ask you something? Keller said. Depends. Why'd you leave the military? Maya didn't answer right away, just watched the road. I didn't leave. I was reassigned. To what? Work that doesn't show up on personnel files. Black ops. Something like that? And you're okay with that? Being erased? She turned to look at him. You ever do something you can't talk about? Something that would get people killed if you told the wrong person? Yes. Then you already know the answer. The warehouse came into view 10 minutes later, set back from the road, surrounded by empty lots. Single story. Corrugated metal siding. No lights visible from the exterior. Keller drove past without slowing. Looks abandoned. That's the point. He circled the block. Came back from the opposite direction. Parked 2 blocks away behind a shuttered auto shop. They got out. Moved on foot. Stayed low. Used the shadows. The exterior fence was 8 feet. Chain link. No razor wire. Maya scaled it first. Dropped silently on the other side. Keller followed. His ankle slowed him down, but he made it. They crossed the lot. No movement. No sound except wind rattling loose metal. Maya signaled. Keller followed her to the north side of the building. The external ladder was there, rusted but intact. She climbed. Keller stayed at the base, watched their back. The roof was flat, tar and gravel, vents and HVAC units scattered across the surface. Maya moved to the access hatch, tested it, unlocked. She signaled Keller. He climbed. They gathered at the hatch. Maya pulled it open slowly. No creak. Someone had oiled the hinges recently. That wasn't a good sign. She descended first. Metal ladder, dark shaft. Her boots hit solid floor after 12 rungs. She was in a storage room, shelves lined with medical equipment, defibrillators, ventilators, IV poles, all gathering dust. Keller dropped down behind her, drew his weapon. Maya pointed to the door. He nodded. She opened it. Hallway beyond. Fluorescent lights. Empty. They moved. The facility was bigger than the schematics suggested. Corridors branched off in multiple directions. Rooms filled with equipment. Office spaces stripped bare. No people. No sounds. Too quiet. Maya's instincts screamed trap, but they were already inside. Turning back meant leaving Holt. They cleared 3 rooms. Nothing. 4th room, different. The door was newer than the others, reinforced, electronic lock. Maya examined it. This wasn't in the original building plans. Can you open it? She pulled a small tool from her pocket. Bypass device, military issue. She attached it to the lock panel. Waited. The device beeped. Red light. It's encrypted, she said. I can't crack it. Keller stepped back. Then we find another way. That's when they heard it. Muffled voice. From beyond the door, shouting. Maya pressed her ear to the door, listened. Don't know what you're talking about. Holt's voice, strained, angry. Another voice, calmer. You were transporting classified intelligence. We know you made a copy. Tell us where it is. I don't have it. Then who does? Silence. Then the sound of a fist hitting flesh. Holt grunted. Maya's hand tightened on her weapon. Keller whispered, How many? She held up 3 fingers. 3 distinct voices beyond the door. We need to move, Keller said. Find another entry. Maya shook her head, pointed at the door. He's right there. And we can't get through. She stepped back, raised her weapon, aimed at the lock. What are you doing? Keller hissed. Opening the door. That's going to bring everyone in the building down on us. I know. She fired. 3 rounds. The lock exploded. Sparks, smoke. She kicked the door. It didn't budge. Kicked again. The frame splintered. 3rd kick. The door flew open. The room beyond was exactly what the photo had shown. Concrete floor, harsh lights, metal chair. Holt was tied to it, face bloody. 2 men standing over him. A 3rd man near the back wall spun toward the door, reaching for his weapon. Maya shot him first, center mass. He went down. The other 2 scattered. Keller came through behind her, engaged the man on the left. Maya moved right. The 2nd man had cover behind a metal workbench. He fired blind. Rounds sparked off the door frame. She returned fire. Controlled bursts. Kept him pinned. Keller's target went down. 2 shots. Clean. Maya advanced. The man behind the workbench tried to reposition. She caught him mid-movement. 2 rounds. He dropped. Silence. Smoke. Cordite. Blood. Maya moved to Holt. Started cutting his restraints. You good? Been better. His voice was hoarse. One eye was swollen shut. Took you long enough. Traffic? Keller was checking the bodies. They're not military, not federal, private contractors maybe. Mercs, Holt said. Same crew that ambushed me 3 days ago. Who hired them? Maya asked. I don't know, but whoever it is has reach. They knew my route. They knew my cargo. They knew... Footsteps. Multiple. Coming from the hallway. Company, Keller said. Maya pulled Holt to his feet. He stumbled. She steadied him. Can you move? Do I have a choice? No. They headed for the door. Keller took point. The hallway erupted. Gunfire. Muzzle flashes. Rounds tearing through drywall. Keller returned fire. Dropped back into the room. We're pinned, he said. Maya scanned the room. 1 door, no windows, concrete walls. Her eyes landed on the vent. Large, industrial, big enough. There. She pointed. Keller looked. You're kidding. You have a better idea? More gunfire, closer. Keller moved to the vent, started unscrewing the cover with his tactical knife. The screws were rusted. 1 snapped. Faster, Maya said. She was at the door, firing controlled bursts, keeping the shooters back. Keller got the cover off. Go! Holt went first. Maya shoved him up. He crawled into the duct, slow, grimacing. Keller fired twice more, then followed. Maya was last. She climbed into the vent, pulled her legs up just as rounds punched through the wall below. The duct was cramped, dark, smelled like rust and decay. They crawled. Holt was ahead, moving on instinct. His breathing was labored. Behind them, voices, angry, searching. The duct branched. Holt took left. They followed. 50 feet. Turn. Another 50 feet. Then light. A vent cover ahead. Holt kicked it loose. It clattered to the floor below. He dropped through, landed hard, cried out. Keller went next, stuck the landing better. Maya came last. Dropped into what looked like a loading bay. Empty pallets. Roll-up door. That way. She pointed to the door. They ran, hit the door. It was locked from the outside. Holt slumped against the wall. I can't... Maya didn't wait. She shot the lock, kicked the door open. Cold air, night, freedom. They stumbled out into the lot. Behind them, shouts. The shooters had found the vent. Move! Maya grabbed Holt. Keller took his other side. They ran for the fence. Gunfire erupted behind them, rounds kicking up dirt, sparking off metal. They reached the fence. Maya went over first, turned, helped pull Holt up. He made it over, barely, collapsed on the other side. Keller was halfway up when a round caught him in the shoulder. He grunted, lost his grip, fell. Maya was back over the fence before he hit the ground. She grabbed him, dragged him. "I'm fine," he said through gritted teeth. "You're shot." "I noticed." She got him over. They dropped on the far side. More gunfire, but they were out of effective range now. They kept moving, made it to Keller's car. Maya drove. Keller was in the passenger seat, Holt in the back. She didn't stop for 3 miles, then pulled into an abandoned gas station. Killed the lights. Keller was bleeding, not arterial, but steady. Maya grabbed the med kit. "Let me see." He peeled his jacket back. The round had gone through. Clean entry and exit. High shoulder. Missed the bone. She packed the wound, applied pressure. "You'll live." "Good to know." Holt leaned forward from the back seat. "Who the hell are you people?" "Doesn't matter," Maya said. "It matters to me. I just got tortured for 2 days and then rescued by a nurse and a Fed who fight like special forces." Maya finished bandaging Keller's shoulder. "What were you transporting?" "Classified. The people who tortured you wanted a copy. Where is it?" Holt met her eyes. "I don't have it." "But you made one." He didn't answer. "Holt," Maya said quietly, "those people are going to keep coming. And next time they won't just grab you. They'll grab everyone connected to you, your family, your friends, anyone they can leverage. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Where is the copy?" He stared at her for a long moment, then pulled something from his boot. Small USB drive, waterproof case. "Here." Maya took it. "What's on it?" "Proof, names, transactions. Evidence that someone inside the Department of Defense has been selling intel to foreign buyers, using military hospitals as transfer points, patients as couriers." Keller's head snapped up. "How long?" "At least 2 years. Maybe longer. I stumbled onto it 6 months ago. Started building a case, then someone found out." "Who?" "I don't know, but they're high up. High enough to mobilize contractors, high enough to bury people." Maya looked at the drive. This was it. This was what her whole mission had been about. And now it was in her hand. "We need to get this to someone we can trust," she said. "Who?" Keller asked. "Everyone I know could be compromised." "What about Brennan?" Holt asked. Maya shook her head. "He's good, but he's not high enough. Whoever's running this operation can bury him too." "Then who?" She thought for a moment, then pulled out her phone, dialed a number she'd memorized but never called. It rang and rang, then a voice. Female, older, authority that didn't need to announce itself. "This is General Sarah Vance. Who is this?" Maya took a breath. "Captain Elena Reeves, ID number 4729 Delta, verification code Titan Black 6. Silence. Then, "Captain Reeves was killed in action 2 years ago." "That's what the file says." Another pause. "Go ahead." "I'm calling to invoke Omega Protocol. I have evidence of a black market intelligence ring operating inside DoD medical facilities. I have a witness, and I have proof. But my chain of command is compromised." "How compromised?" "All the way up." "That's a serious accusation." "I have a USB drive that proves it." "Where are you?" Maya looked at Keller, at Holt. "Somewhere safe." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one you're getting until I know I can trust you." "Captain, I could have you arrested for insubordination." "You could try." Vance's tone shifted. "You sound like someone I used to know. Stubborn, refused to follow orders he didn't agree with, got himself killed for it." "Was he right?" "Yes." "Then you understand why I'm calling." Vance was silent for a moment. Then, "There's a federal building in Riverside, 3rd floor, office 319. I'll have someone there in 2 hours. Come alone. Bring the evidence." "No." "Excuse me?" "Not alone. I bring my team, all of us, or the deal's off." "You're not in a position to negotiate." "Neither are you. If I disappear, this drive gets uploaded to every news outlet in the country. You want to contain this?" You play by my rules. Another long silence. Then Vance laughed. Once. Sharp. You've got guts, Captain. Fine. Bring your team. 2 hours. Don't be late. The line went dead. Maya looked at the others. We have 2 hours. Keller was pale from blood loss, but alert. You trust her? I don't trust anyone, but she's our best shot. And if it's a trap? Maya held up the emergency beacon. Then I press this and we see what happens. Holt leaned back, closed his eyes. I really hope you know what you're doing. Me too. They drove to Riverside, took the long way, checked for tails, found none. The federal building was downtown, 10 stories, security at the entrance, cameras everywhere. They parked 2 blocks away, walked in separately, met at the elevators. 3rd floor. Office 319. The door was unmarked. Maya knocked. It opened. A woman stood there, late 50s, gray hair, sharp eyes, 2 stars on her uniform. General Sarah Vance. Captain Reeves, she said, come in. They entered. The office was small. Desk, 2 chairs, no windows. And standing in the corner, arms crossed, was Colonel Marcus Brennan. Maya's hand moved toward her weapon. Easy, Vance said. He's with me. Brennan didn't smile. Hello, Captain. Maya's mind raced. Brennan was here, which meant either Vance had brought him in or he was already part of this. Sir, she said carefully. I read your report, Vance said. The one you sent before your handler went dark. Very thorough. Very damning. She looked at Holt. You must be Marcus Holt. Yes, ma'am. And you? She turned to Keller. You're the federal agent who's been causing problems. Agent Keller, DOJ. I know who you are. Vance sat behind the desk. Now, let's see what you have. Maya handed over the USB drive. Vance plugged it into a laptop, waited. Files opened, spreadsheets, transaction logs, encrypted communications. Vance's expression didn't change, but her fingers tightened on the mouse. She read in silence for 3 minutes. Then she looked up. This is worse than I thought. Ma'am? Maya asked. These transactions, they're not just intel sales. They're patient trafficking, high-value targets, political prisoners, witnesses, people who disappeared from federal custody and were listed as dead. She scrolled further. And the names here, half of them are still active duty. Brennan moved closer, looked at the screen. His face went white. That's not possible, he said. It's right here. Who's running it? Maya asked. Vance clicked to another file. A name appeared, Dr. Peter Langford. And beneath it, a second name. Maya's stomach dropped. Her handler. The voice on the other end of the secure line. The person she'd been reporting to for 3 weeks. Colonel Diane Fisher. No, Maya whispered. I'm afraid so, Vance said. Your entire operation was compromised from the start. They put you in play to identify threats. And when you got too close, they tried to eliminate you. Keller swore under his breath. Holt just looked tired. So what now? Vance closed the laptop. Now we move fast. I'm issuing arrest warrants for everyone on this list. Military police are already mobilizing. By morning, this whole network is going to be in custody. And us? Maya asked. You're heroes, all 3 of you. You'll be debriefed, recognized, protected. It sounded too easy. Maya didn't trust it. What's the catch? She asked. Vance smiled. Smart. The catch is this. Some of the people on this list are very powerful, very connected. They're going to fight back. Hard. So you need to be ready for what comes next. Which is? War. The door burst open. 3 men in tactical gear, weapons raised. Drop your weapons, now! Maya's hand went to her gun, but Vance held up a hand. Stand down, Captain. They're with me. The lead operator lowered his weapon slightly. General, we have a situation. Colonel Fisher just mobilized a strike team. They're headed this way. ETA 5 minutes. Vance stood. How many? 12. Maybe more. Full tactical. Brennan moved to the window, looked out. We're sitting ducks here. Then we move, Vance said. She looked at Maya. You still have that emergency beacon? Maya pulled it from her pocket. Press it. Ma'am, that's an order, Captain. Press it. Maya pressed the button. 15 seconds later, every alarm in the building went off. And outside, in the distance, the sound of helicopters. The helicopters came in low and fast. Blackhawks. 2 of them. The rotor wash rattled the windows as they descended toward the federal building's rooftop. General Vance was already moving. "Brennan, get them to the roof, now!" Brennan grabbed Maya's arm. "This way." They ran. Down the hallway. Past offices where federal employees were scrambling for cover. The alarm was deafening. Red lights strobed. Keller was struggling. The shoulder wound had reopened. Blood soaked through his jacket. Holt caught him before he stumbled. "Keep moving," Holt said. They hit the stairwell. Started climbing. 3 flights. Then 5. Below them, the entrance doors exploded inward. Gunfire, screaming. Fisher's strike team was inside. Maya pushed harder. Took the stairs 3 at a time. Reached the roof access door. Kicked it open. Wind hit her like a physical force. The helicopters were hovering 20 feet above the rooftop. Ropes dropped. Figures in tactical gear fast roped down. Not Fisher's people. These were military. Real military. Special operations patches. Weapons at ready. The lead operator hit the roof. Moved straight to Vance. "Ma'am, we need to move. Hostiles inbound." "I know. Get these 3 on Bird 1. I'll take Bird 2 with Brennan." "Ma'am, protocol says you—" "I don't care about protocol. Move!" The operator didn't argue. He signaled to his team. 2 of them grabbed Maya, Keller, and Holt, ushered them toward the first helicopter. Maya resisted. "General, if we split up—" "You're the priority, Captain. You have the intel. They want you dead, so you're getting off this roof first." The stairwell door burst open behind them. Fisher's team, 6 men. Weapons up. The special operations team engaged immediately. Controlled fire. Professional. 2 of Fisher's men went down. The others scattered. Took cover behind HVAC units. "Go!" Vance shouted. The operator shoved Maya toward the helicopter. She climbed the rope. Keller followed. Slower. His shoulder was bleeding badly now. Holt went last. They pulled themselves into the Bird. The crew chief reached out, hauled them inside. "We're up!" he shouted into his headset. The helicopter banked hard, rose fast. Maya looked down, saw Vance and Brennan running for the second Bird, saw the firefight intensifying, saw more of Fisher's team pouring onto the roof. Then she saw something else. A rocket launcher. "RPG!" she screamed. The crew chief saw it too. "Evasive! Evasive!" The pilot jerked the stick. The helicopter rolled. Hard. The rocket streaked past, missed by feet, but the second helicopter wasn't as lucky. The rocket hit the tail rotor. The explosion was massive. Fire, debris. The helicopter spun. Out of control. It tilted. Dropped. "No!" Maya lunged toward the open door. The crew chief grabbed her, held her back. "There's nothing you can do." She watched the second Bird fall. It clipped the edge of the building, rolled, smashed into the street below. The explosion lit up the night. Maya's knees gave out. The crew chief lowered her to the floor. "General Vance was on that Bird," she whispered. "I know." "Brennan was on that Bird." "I know." The helicopter leveled out, flew hard, away from the city. Maya sat on the floor, stared at nothing. Keller was beside her, pale, shaking. "Did they make it out?" "No." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do." The crew chief was on the radio, coordinating. His voice was professional, detached, but his hands were shaking. After a moment, he turned to them. "We're taking you to Fort Garrison, secure facility. You'll be debriefed there." "By who?" Maya asked. "Command." "Which command?" "Ma'am, I don't have that information." She stood, moved to the cockpit. The pilot glanced back. "Where exactly are we going?" she asked. "Fort Garrison, 40 miles north." "Who gave the order?" "General Vance. Before she—" He stopped. "Before she died." "Yes, ma'am." Maya looked out the window. The city was behind them now, just darkness below. No lights, no landmarks. "How long until we land?" 15 minutes. She went back to the main cabin, sat across from Holt. "You okay?" he asked. "No." "Me neither." Keller was leaning against the wall, eyes closed, breathing shallow. Maya moved to him, checked his wound. The bleeding had slowed but not stopped. He needed a hospital, real treatment. Hang on, she said, trying. The helicopter started descending 10 minutes later. Maya looked out, saw a military base, lights, runways, hangars. They touched down on a helipad near the main building. Armed soldiers surrounded them immediately. Not hostile, but not friendly either. An officer approached. Captain's bars, serious face. Captain Reeves? Yes. Come with me. You and your team. They were escorted inside, through corridors, past checkpoints, into a secure briefing room. No windows, one table, chairs, a screen on the wall. Wait here, the officer said, then left. The door locked behind him. Maya tested it, solid, reinforced. Are we prisoners? Holt asked. I don't know. Keller slumped into a chair. I need a medic. They'll send one. When? I don't know. They waited. 5 minutes. 10. Then the door opened. A woman entered. Civilian clothes. ID badge clipped to her belt. FBI. I'm Special Agent Rebecca Torres. I'm here to debrief you. Where's the medic? Maya asked. On the way. Torres sat, opened a tablet. I need to ask you some questions. Our teammate is bleeding. I understand. The medic will be here shortly. In the meantime, no. Maya's voice was flat, hard. Medic first, questions after. Torres met her eyes, held the stare, then nodded, spoke into a radio. Send medical, now. 2 minutes later, a medic arrived, started working on Keller, IV line, fresh bandages, antibiotics. Torres waited, patient. When the medic finished, she spoke. Now, tell me what happened. Maya gave her the short version. The ambush at the hospital, the warehouse, the rescue, the meeting with Vance, the helicopter. Torres took notes, asked clarifying questions. Professional. When Maya finished, Torres set down the tablet. General Vance is dead. So is Colonel Brennan. The second helicopter went down hard. No survivors. Maya already knew, but hearing it confirmed felt like a punch to the gut. What about Fisher? She asked. Colonel Diane Fisher is currently in the wind. We have teams searching, but she's gone dark. She has resources, safe houses, contacts. We know, which is why we need everything you have, every piece of intel, every name on that drive. Maya pulled the USB from her pocket, set it on the table. Torres picked it up, looked at it like it might explode. This is it? This is what Vance died for? Yes. Torres plugged it into her tablet, started reading. Her expression changed. Professional mask slipped, just for a second. How many people are on this list? 47, Maya said. That we know of. Active duty? Most of them. Torres scrolled, stopped. There's a senator on here. I know. And a federal judge. I know that too. Torres looked up. This is going to cause a firestorm. That's the point. Torres stood, paced. Do you have any idea what this means? The political fallout, the investigations, the trials? I know exactly what it means, Maya said. It means justice. It means chaos. Sometimes they're the same thing. Torres stopped pacing, looked at her. You've been through hell, all of you. And I'm sorry for that, but this, she gestured at the tablet. This is bigger than any of us. This is going to tear apart institutions, end careers, maybe end lives. Good, Holt said from across the table. Because those institutions were rotten. Those careers were built on blood money. And those lives, they were already over. They just didn't know it yet. Torres was silent for a moment, then she nodded. Okay, I'll forward this to my director. We'll start building cases immediately. How long? Maya asked. Weeks? Maybe months. These are complex investigations. We need evidence, witnesses, warrants. We don't have months. Fisher is out there. She knows we have the drive. She's going to run or retaliate, maybe both. We'll find her. Before she finds us? Torres didn't answer. Maya stood. I want protective custody for all three of us. Not here. Somewhere off the grid. That's not my call. Then find someone whose call it is. Torres looked like she wanted to argue, then thought better of it. I'll see what I can do. She left. The door locked again. Keller leaned back in his chair. The IV drip was working. Color was returning to his face. She's not going to protect us. I know. So what do we do? Maya looked at Holt. We disappear. How? Holt asked. We're locked in a military base surrounded by armed guards, no resources, no backup. We've gotten out of worse. When? Maya walked to the door, examined the lock, electronic, keypad access, no manual override visible. Can you hack it? Keller asked. Maybe. If I had tools. Which you don't. Which I don't. She looked around the room, standard military briefing space. Table bolted to the floor, chairs, screen, ventilation grate. Her eyes stopped on the grate. No, Keller said. Don't even think about it. It's big enough. Barely. We've done tighter. You've done tighter. I'm a federal agent, not a special forces operator. Maya was already moving, pulled a chair under the grate, climbed up, started unscrewing the cover with a pen from the table. This is insane, Keller muttered. You have a better idea? He didn't. The screws came out. Maya pulled the grate free, looked inside. The duct was narrow, dark, but it led somewhere. She pulled herself up, squeezed inside. Coming? She called down. Holt went next. Struggled. His injuries made it hard. But he made it. Keller looked at the duct, looked at his shoulder. I'm going to regret this. Probably. He climbed up. Maya and Holt pulled him through. They crawled. The duct was cold. Metal. Every movement echoed. Where does this go? Holt whispered. Don't know. Away from here. They crawled for what felt like an hour, probably 10 minutes. The duct branched. Maya took right, then left, then straight. She was navigating by instinct, following airflow, following sound. Finally, she saw light ahead. Another grate. She approached carefully, looked through. An empty office. Dark. Door closed. She kicked the grate loose, dropped down, landed in a crouch. The others followed. Maya moved to the door, cracked it open, peeked out. Hallway? Empty. Late night. Skeleton crew. Move quiet. Move fast. They slipped into the hallway, headed toward what Maya hoped was an exit. Turned a corner. Stopped. 2 MPs, standing guard outside a door. Maya pulled back. Thought fast. Distraction, she whispered to Holt. What kind? Any kind. Holt looked around, saw a fire alarm, pulled it. The alarm screamed. The MPs reacted. One spoke into his radio, the other moved toward the sound. Maya slipped past. Keller and Holt followed. They made it to an exterior door, emergency exit, alarmed. Maya pushed through anyway, added one more alarm to the chaos. Outside, cold air, dark. They ran. Across the base, past buildings, past vehicles, ahead, the fence. 12 feet, topped with wire. Maya didn't slow down, hit the fence, climbed. The wire tore her jacket, scratched her hands. She made it over, dropped on the other side. Keller and Holt followed, slower, bleeding. They were over, sirens behind them, shouts, searchlights. They ran into the woods beyond the fence, disappeared into darkness. 2 miles later they stopped, lungs burning, body shaking. Maya checked her phone. No signal. Now what? Keller gasped. We find transport. Get off grid. Figure out our next move. And then? Then we finish this. They walked through the night, stayed off roads, moved through forest. Dawn came slow, gray light filtering through trees. They reached a highway, waited in the tree line, watched traffic. We need a car, Maya said. Steal one? You have a better idea? Before Keller could answer, a semi-truck pulled off the road, stopped at a rest area 50 yards away. The driver got out, headed for the bathroom. Maya moved, fast, quiet. Checked the truck, keys still in the ignition. You're joking, Keller said. Get in. They climbed into the cab. Maya started the engine. The truck rolled forward. Behind them, the driver emerged from the bathroom. saw his truck leaving, started shouting. Maya shifted gears, accelerated. They merged onto the highway, headed south. "Where are we going?" Holt asked. "Somewhere they won't look." "Where's that?" Maya thought about it, thought about the list, the names, the network. "Mercy Ridge Hospital," she said. Keller stared at her. "That's where this started." "Exactly, which is the last place they'll expect us to go. Or it's the first place, because it's obvious. Only one way to find out." They drove for 3 hours, ditched the truck outside the city, stole a sedan from a parking garage, switched plates twice. By the time they reached Mercy Ridge, it was mid-morning. The hospital looked normal, ambulances coming and going, visitors in the lobby, doctors making rounds. But Maya knew better. They parked 2 blocks away, watched. "What are we looking for?" Keller asked. "Langford." "You think he's still here?" "If he ran, the FBI would have flagged it. If he's still here, he thinks he's safe. Or he's waiting for us." "Maybe." They waited. 1 hour, 2. Then Maya saw him. Dr. Peter Langford, walking across the parking lot. White coat, stethoscope. Like nothing had happened, like he hadn't been part of a network that killed people. Maya's hand went to her weapon. Keller caught her wrist. "Not here. Not now." "Why not?" "Because we need him alive. We need him to testify." Maya's jaw clenched, but she lowered her hand. Langford got into his car. A luxury sedan, expensive. Maya started their car, followed at a distance. Langford drove through the city, took back roads, checked his mirrors. He was nervous. Good. He pulled into an office park, older building, half empty, parked near the back entrance. Maya parked across the street. Watched. Langford got out, looked around, then walked inside. "He's meeting someone," Holt said. "Let's find out who." They crossed the street, entered through a side door. The building was quiet, mostly vacant offices. A few small businesses still operating. Maya followed the sound of voices, down a hallway to a conference room. The door was ajar. She approached carefully, listened. Langford's voice, "Told you this was contained. You said the nurse was handled." Another voice, female, familiar. "She was, until you panicked and put the entire operation at risk." Maya's blood went cold. She knew that voice. Colonel Diane Fisher. "I didn't panic," Langford said. "I followed protocol. You're the one who sent contractors instead of professionals." "The contractors were professionals. Your nurse was just better." "She's military. You should have known that." "I did know. That's why I put her there." Silence. "What?" Langford's voice was shaking now. "You heard me. I embedded her. I controlled her. I used her to identify threats within the network, and she did exactly what I needed her to do." "You're insane." "No, I'm thorough. And now that she's burned through her usefulness, she's going to disappear. Just like Vance. Just like Brennan. Just like everyone else who got too close." Maya stepped into the doorway. Fisher looked up, smiled. "Hello, Captain. Right on time." Maya's weapon was already drawn, aimed center mass. "Hands where I can see them." Fisher didn't move, just sat there, relaxed. "You're not going to shoot me. Try me. If you were going to shoot, you would have done it already. You're too disciplined, too by the book. That's always been your weakness." Keller moved into the room, weapon raised, aimed at Langford. "Both of you, on the ground, now." Langford's face went white. He dropped to his knees, hands up. Fisher didn't move. "I said on the ground," Keller repeated. Fisher smiled. "Agent Keller, the persistent one. You know, you were never supposed to survive the parking garage. That was sloppy work. I'll have to talk to my people about that." "Your people are dead or in custody," Maya said. "It's over." "Is it?" Fisher stood slowly, hands visible. "Because from where I'm standing, you're 3 fugitives who just escaped from federal custody. You assaulted military personnel, stole government property, and now you're pointing weapons at a decorated colonel and a respected physician." "A decorated traitor," Holt said from the doorway. He had a phone in his hand, recording. "And it's all on video, every word. Fisher's smile faltered, just for a second. That won't hold up in court, she said. Maybe not, Holt said, but it'll sure make one hell of a news story. Fisher's eyes narrowed. You're bluffing. Am I? Holt tapped the phone. I've got 6 news outlets on speed dial. 3 of them would kill for this story. Want to find out which one I call first? Fisher looked at Maya, then at Keller, then back at Holt, calculating. You're making a mistake, she said quietly. No, Maya said. You made the mistake 2 years ago when you decided lives were worth less than money. It was never about money. Then what was it about? Fisher's expression hardened. Power, control, the ability to shape outcomes. The military is a tool. I just learned how to use it better than most. By selling out your own people. By recognizing that patriotism is a commodity, and like all commodities, it has a price. Sirens, distant, getting closer. Fisher heard them too. Her hand moved toward her jacket. Don't, Maya said. Fisher froze. I'm just reaching for my phone. Slowly, Fisher pulled out a phone, but her thumb was already moving across the screen. Drop it, Keller said. Fisher smiled. Too late. The phone beeped, then the building shook. Explosion. From the parking lot. That was your car, Fisher said. And in about 30 seconds, this building is going to be surrounded by people who answer to me. People who will kill all of you and make it look like you resisted arrest. You're bluffing, Maya said. Am I? More sirens, closer now. Keller moved to the window, looked out. His face went pale. She's not bluffing. 6 vehicles, tactical team. They're setting up a perimeter. Maya's mind raced. They were trapped. No exit, no backup. Fisher stood. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to lower your weapons. You're going to surrender. And I'm going to make sure you disappear so quietly no one will ever know you existed. Or, Maya asked, or we all die here. Your choice. The tactical team was at the entrance now, boots on stairs, coming fast. Maya looked at Keller, at Holt. They were out of options. Then her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Text message. Unknown number. Check the roof. You have 2 minutes. Vance. Maya's heart stopped. Vance was dead. She saw the helicopter go down, unless she didn't. Move, Maya said. Roof. Now. Keller didn't hesitate. Grabbed Langford, hauled him up. You're coming with us. Fisher laughed. There's no way out. Maya turned to her. Then I guess you're coming too. She grabbed Fisher, weapon pressed against her spine. Move. They ran. Out of the conference room, down the hallway, found the stairwell, up. 3 flights. Behind them, the tactical team breached the building. Shouts. Gunfire. They hit the roof access door, locked. Keller shot the lock, kicked it open. Roof, open sky, no cover. And in the distance, the sound of rotors. A helicopter. Unmarked. Coming in fast. That's our ride, Maya said. How do you know? Keller asked. I don't, but it's better than staying here. The helicopter descended, hovered 10 feet above the roof. A rope dropped. A figure fast roped down. Landed hard. Stood. General Sarah Vance. Alive. Burned. Limping. But alive. Thought you could use some help, she said. Maya stared. How? Later. Move. They climbed the rope. Langford first, then Fisher, Keller, Holt. Maya went last. Below, the tactical team burst onto the roof, opened fire. The helicopter banked, rose. Rounds sparked off the fuselage. They were up. They were clear. Inside the helicopter, Vance was on the radio. This is General Vance, authorization code Sierra 9 Tango. I'm declaring a national security emergency. All units stand down. Repeat, all units stand down. Static. Then a response. Confirmed. Standing down. The tactical team on the roof lowered their weapons. Vance turned to Maya. You did good, Captain. You were dead. I saw the helicopter go down. You saw a helicopter go down. Brennan and I bailed 30 seconds before impact. Rough landing, but we made it. Where's Brennan? Coordinating arrests. By now, half the people on that list are in custody. The other half are running. They won't get far. Maya looked at Fisher. The colonel was sitting against the wall, hands zip-tied, face blank. What happens to her? Maya asked. Trial, prison, if she's lucky. Vance leaned closer. But between you and me, she's not going to be lucky. The helicopter flew for 20 minutes, landed at an undisclosed location, military installation, high security. They were escorted inside, separated, debriefed. Maya sat in a room for 3 hours, answered questions, gave statements, signed documents. When it was over, Torres appeared. You're clear, she said. All charges dropped. Full immunity. And the others? Same. Keller's being transferred to a federal hospital. Holt's entering protective custody until the trials are over. What about me? Torres smiled. That's up to you. You can return to active duty, or you can walk away. Your choice. Maya thought about it. Thought about the last 3 weeks, the lies, the danger, the people who died, the people who lived. I need time to think. Take all the time you need. 2 days later, Maya stood outside Mercy Ridge Hospital. Civilian clothes. No weapon. No cover identity. Just herself. She walked inside, headed for the ER. The nurse's station was busy. Same as always. A young nurse approached, the same one who'd hesitated during Holt's trauma. Who'd spoken up when Langford was wrong. Can I help you? She asked. Maya smiled. I used to work here. Just wanted to say goodbye. The nurse's eyes widened. You're Sullivan, the one who saved that federal agent. Yeah. Everyone's been talking about you, about what you did. She lowered her voice. About what Dr. Langford was doing. You knew? Not all of it, but I knew something was wrong. I didn't know how to say anything. Maya nodded. It's hard, standing up when everyone else is looking the other way. You did it. So did you. That day in the trauma bay, you questioned the protocol. That mattered. The young nurse looked down. I almost didn't. But you did, and next time it'll be easier. She turned to leave, then stopped. Dr. Langford was being escorted through the lobby. Handcuffs, federal agents. The staff parted like water. No one looked at him. No one spoke. Their eyes met. Langford looked away first. Maya walked out. Behind her, the hospital continued. Patients, doctors, nurses, life. She got into her car, started the engine. Her phone buzzed. Text message. Job offer. Interested? Vance. Maya stared at the message for a long time, then typed a response. What kind of job? The reply came immediately. The kind that matters. The kind that saves lives. The kind you're actually good at. Not undercover. Not black ops. Training. Teaching the next generation of combat medics. Making sure they're better than we were. Maya sat in her car. Watched the city move around her. Thought about the young nurse inside. The one who'd hesitated but spoken up anyway. Thought about all the people who would come after. Who would face the same choices. The same pressures. She typed one word. When? Monday. 800. Fort Benning. Report to the medical training facility. Welcome home, Captain. Maya smiled, put the car in drive, and headed toward whatever came next. 1 week later, Mercy Ridge Hospital announced sweeping reforms, new leadership, new oversight, new protocols for patient transfers and interdepartmental communication. The FBI announced 43 arrests in connection with an international intelligence trafficking ring. Trials were scheduled to begin in 6 months. Agent Keller returned to duty with a commendation and a promotion. He didn't talk about what happened, just went back to work. Marcus Holt testified before a closed congressional committee. His testimony led to the creation of a new task force focused on internal corruption within the Department of Defense. And in a federal maximum security facility, Colonel Diane Fisher sat in a cell and waited for trial. She had one visitor, General Sarah Vance. They sat across from each other, separated by bulletproof glass. You're going to die in here, Vance said. Fisher smiled. Maybe. Or maybe I'll make a deal. I have information, names, operations, things that would make that USB drive look like a grocery list. No one's making deals with you. We'll see. Vance leaned forward. You want to know the difference between you and me? Enlighten me. I serve something bigger than myself. You only ever served yourself. And look where it got us. You're injured, your career is hanging by a thread, and I'm still alive with leverage. Vance stood. Your leverage died the moment we arrested you. Your network is dismantled. Your assets are seized. Your co-conspirators are turning on each other for lighter sentences. You're not a player anymore, Diane. You're just evidence. She walked to the door, stopped, looked back. The captain you tried to use? The one you thought was your tool? She's out there right now training the people who will replace us, teaching them to be better, to serve with honor, to recognize people like you before it's too late. How inspirational. It is. Because 20 years from now, when you're still rotting in here, those people will be out there making sure what you built never happens again. Vance knocked on the door. The guard opened it. Enjoy the rest of your life, Colonel. The door closed. Fisher sat alone in the cell. For the first time, her smile faded. 3 months later, Maya stood in front of a classroom. 25 students, all enlisted, all heading for combat medical training. My name is Captain Reeves, she said, and for the next 12 weeks, I'm going to teach you how to save lives under the worst possible conditions. You're going to learn trauma protocols, tactical medicine, field surgery, and most importantly, you're going to learn when to follow orders and when to question them. A hand went up, young private, nervous. Ma'am, when do we question orders? Maya thought about it. Thought about Langford screaming at her to stay out of the trauma bay. Thought about the moment she'd ignored him and saved a life. When following them would cost a life that shouldn't be lost. When protocol becomes an excuse for incompetence. When authority demands obedience over ethics. She paused. You'll know it when you see it. And when that moment comes, you'll have to decide what kind of medic you want to be. The classroom was silent. Now, Maya said, let's get to work. She turned to the board, started drawing anatomy diagrams. Behind her, the students leaned forward, ready to learn, ready to become what she'd fought to protect. And somewhere in the back of the room, unseen, General Vance stood and watched, then quietly left. Her work was done. But late that night, in her office, Vance received an encrypted message. Subject line, priority alert. She opened it. Inside was a single line of text and an attached file. Fisher wasn't working alone. This goes higher than we thought. Much higher. Vance opened the file, started reading. Her expression went from concern to horror to cold rage. Then she picked up her phone, dialed a number. It rang once. This is Reeves. Captain, I need you to come back to Washington. Now. Ma'am, I just started teaching. I know, but we have a problem, a big one, and I need someone I can trust. Silence on the other end. Then, what kind of problem? Vance looked at the file on her screen, at the names she recognized, names that should never have been on any list. The kind that means we didn't finish the job, she said quietly. The kind that means Fisher was just the beginning. Maya was on the road within 2 hours, left her students with the assistant instructor and a promise she'd be back, drove through the night, reached Washington by dawn. Vance's office was in the Pentagon, restricted wing, security so tight Maya had to go through 3 checkpoints just to reach the elevator. The general was waiting. She looked tired, older than Maya remembered from just 3 months ago. Close the door, Vance said. Maya did. Vance slid a folder across the desk. Read this, then tell me I'm wrong. Maya opened it. The first page was a transaction log, dates, amounts, account numbers. The second page was communications intercepts, encrypted messages decoded. The third page was surveillance photos. Maya's stomach dropped. She recognized the faces. When did you find this? She asked. 2 days ago, Fisher's attorney tried to make a deal, offered up a name in exchange for a reduced sentence. Which name? Vance pointed to the photo. Senator Richard Carver, Armed Services Committee, Oversight Authority on Military Medical Facilities. Maya stared at the photo. Carver was in his 60s, distinguished, gray hair, the kind of face that showed up on Sunday morning news shows. He's been covering for the network? Maya asked. Worse, he's been running it. Fisher was middle management. Carver was the architect. How deep does this go? Deep enough that I can't trust my own chain of command. Deep enough that making one wrong move could bury this forever. Vance leaned back. I need someone who isn't part of the system. Someone who's already proven they can operate outside it. You want me to go after a sitting senator. I want you to help me build an airtight case, one that can't be buried, one that forces accountability. Maya closed the folder. What's the play? Carver's holding a fundraiser in 3 days. Private event. High-dollar donors. Military contractors. People with skin in the game. Vance pulled out another file. We have reason to believe he's using these events to coordinate, to pass information, to maintain control. You want me to infiltrate. I want you to observe, record, gather evidence, then get out. And if I'm caught, you won't be, because you'll be invited. Vance slid a third file across the desk. Inside was an invitation. Embossed, expensive. Dr. Emily Grant, trauma surgeon, consultant for Redstone Medical Solutions, one of the biggest military contractors in the country. Vance smiled. She's also completely fictional, but her credentials are real, her background checks out, and she's on the guest list. Maya picked up the invitation. How long do I have to prepare? 72 hours. That's not much time. It's what we have. Maya stood. I'll need resources, equipment, backup. You'll have everything you need, but Maya... Vance's voice stopped her at the door. This one's different. Fisher was military. We could contain her. Carver has power, real power. If this goes wrong, I can't protect you. I'm not asking you to. I know. That's why I called you. The next 3 days were a blur. Maya memorized the Dr. Grant legend, studied medical journals so she could speak the language, practiced her cover story until it felt real. The equipment arrived in pieces. Hidden camera in a bracelet, audio recorder in a designer clutch, emergency beacon disguised as a phone. On the third day, she put on the dress. Black. Elegant. Nothing like the scrubs she'd worn for 3 weeks at Mercy Ridge. She looked in the mirror. Dr. Emily Grant looked back. Professional, confident, untouchable. Maya hated her already. The fundraiser was at the Riverside Estate. Old money. The kind of place where champagne costs more than most people's rent. Maya arrived in a town car, stepped out, handed her invitation to security. They scanned it, checked her ID, waved her through. Inside, the main hall was packed. Senators, generals, CEOs. People who shape policy over cocktails and deals made in corners. Maya grabbed a glass of champagne she wouldn't drink and started circulating. She spotted Carver within 5 minutes. He was holding court near the fireplace, surrounded by admirers, laughing at something a defense contractor had said. Maya didn't approach. Not yet. She moved through the crowd, listened, observed, caught fragments of conversation. Appropriations bill is going to committee next week. Redstone's bid came in 20% under budget. Need to make sure the oversight stays minimal. Maya's bracelet camera was recording everything. An hour in, someone approached her. Mid-50s, expensive suit, smiled like a shark. Dr. Grant? I'm Thomas Brenner, VP of Government Relations at Meridian Services. Maya recognized the name. The warehouse where they'd rescued Holt had been owned by a Meridian subsidiary. She shook his hand. Mr. Brenner, pleasure. I've heard great things about your work with Redstone. Trauma protocol development, correct? That's right. We should talk. Meridian's expanding into medical logistics. Could use someone with your expertise. I'd be interested. Brenner handed her a card. Call me next week. I think we could do great things together. He moved on. Maya slipped the card into her clutch. The audio recorder captured every word. 2 hours in, Carver finally broke away from his entourage, headed toward a private study off the main hall. Maya followed at a distance. The study door closed behind him. She waited 30 seconds, then approached, knocked quietly. Come in? She opened the door. Carver was behind a desk. 2 other men were with him. One she recognized from the files, a logistics coordinator tied to the trafficking network. The other was unfamiliar. Dr. Grant, Carver said, standing, I don't believe we've met. We haven't, but I followed your work on the Armed Services Committee. Very impressive. Carver smiled. Politicians smile. You're kind. What brings you to this corner of the party? I was hoping to discuss potential collaboration. Redstone is looking to expand its military medical contracts. I thought you might have insights. Always happy to help a fellow patriot. He gestured to the others. Gentlemen, give us a moment. They left. The door closed. Carver's smile didn't change, but his eyes did. Now, why don't you tell me who you really are? Maya's pulse quickened, but her expression stayed calm. I'm sorry? Dr. Emily Grant is a consultant for Redstone. I know because I approved her security clearance 2 months ago. But Emily Grant is 53 years old. You're what, 30, 32? Maya's hand moved toward her clutch, toward the emergency beacon. I wouldn't, Carver said quietly. He pulled a small device from his pocket, pressed a button. The lights in the study flickered. Signal jammer, your little gadgets won't work in here. She stopped moving. Who sent you? Carver asked. FBI, DOD, or is this Vance's play? Maya didn't answer. Carver laughed. It is Vance. That woman never knows when to quit. He sat on the edge of the desk. Let me guess. She found something. A file? A name? And she sent you to gather evidence. You're paranoid. I'm careful. There's a difference. He leaned forward. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk out of here. You're going to tell Vance you found nothing, and then you're going to disappear. Because if you don't, I will make sure you're buried so deep no one will ever find you. That a threat? It's a promise. The door opened behind her. Maya turned. 3 men. Security? Not the fundraiser kind. The kind with concealed weapons and dead eyes. Escort Dr. Grant to her car, Carver said. Make sure she leaves the property. They moved toward her. Maya calculated. 3 of them. 1 of her. No weapons. No backup. Bad odds. She let them take her arms, walked her out through a side exit, away from the main hall, away from witnesses. They reached the parking lot. That's when Maya moved. She dropped her weight, twisted, broke the grip of the man on her left, drove her elbow into his throat. He went down choking. The second man reached for his weapon. Maya kicked, caught his knee, heard it pop. He dropped. The third man was faster, got his gun out, aimed. Maya grabbed his wrist, redirected. The gun fired. Round went into the ground. She twisted his arm, heard bone crack. He screamed. She took the gun. All 3 men were down. 30 seconds. Maya ran, hit the tree line beyond the parking lot, disappeared into darkness. Behind her, shouts. More security pouring out of the estate. She kept running. Half a mile into the woods, she stopped. Checked her phone. No signal. The jammer was still in range. She kept moving. Another mile. Checked again. 1 bar. She dialed. Vance answered immediately. Report. Carver made me. I'm blown. Security's hunting me. Where are you? Woods east of the estate. I need extraction. Stay on the line. Maya heard typing. Then Vance again. There's a service road 2 clicks northeast of your position. I'm sending a team. ETA 12 minutes. I'll be there. She ran. Behind her, flashlights, dogs barking. They were tracking her. She pushed harder. Her dress tore on branches. Her shoes weren't made for running. She kicked them off, kept going barefoot. The service road appeared through the trees. No vehicle yet. Maya checked her watch. 8 minutes since the call. 4 minutes to wait. The dogs were getting closer. She found a position. Dense brush. Good sight lines. Waited. Flashlights appeared. 6 men, fanning out. Professional search pattern. One of them spoke into a radio. We have movement, northeast quadrant. They moved toward her position. Maya stayed still, controlled her breathing. They were 20 feet away. Then headlights. A black SUV roared up the service road, stopped. The door flew open. Keller. Get in. Maya broke from cover, sprinted. The security team saw her, opened fire. Rounds sparked off the SUV. Maya dove into the back seat. Keller floored it. They fishtailed, found traction, rocketed down the service road. You okay? Keller asked. Fine. What are you doing here? Vance called, said you might need help. He glanced in the rearview mirror. She wasn't wrong. Maya looked back. The security team was getting into vehicles, starting pursuit. We've got company, she said. Keller saw them. Hold on. He took a hard left, off the service road, onto a hiking trail barely wide enough for the SUV. Branches scraped both sides. The suspension screamed. Behind them, the pursuit vehicles tried to follow. One got stuck immediately. The other kept coming. Keller accelerated, hit a jump. The SUV went airborne for a second, landed hard. Maya's head hit the ceiling. Where'd you learn to drive like this? Advanced tactical training. You? Field experience? Iraq? Afghanistan? A few places that aren't on any map. The trail opened into a clearing, then another road. Paved. Keller took it, merged into late-night traffic. The pursuit vehicle fell back, lost in the flow. They drove for 20 minutes in silence, made sure they were clear. Finally, Keller pulled into a parking garage, switched vehicles, a waiting sedan on the third level. Vance thinks of everything, Maya said. She has to. This is her career on the line, too. They drove to a safe house in Arlington, nondescript apartment, temporary. Inside, Vance was waiting with Torres. Did you get anything? Vance asked immediately. Maya pulled the bracelet camera from her wrist, the clutch from her bag. Everything, 2 hours of footage, audio of Carver admitting he approved fake credentials, conversations with known traffickers. Enough to start building a case. Torres took the devices, started downloading. This is good, really good. It won't be enough, Maya said. Carver has resources, lawyers, political cover. He'll fight this every step. I know, Vance said, which is why we're not just building a legal case. We're building a public one. She pulled up a laptop, showed Maya a web page. In 6 hours, every major news outlet in the country is going to receive a full dossier, names, transactions, evidence, everything we have on the trafficking network, including Carver's role. You're going to leak it? Maya asked. I'm going to burn it all down. Because if we try to do this quietly, it'll get buried. But if it's public? If it's everywhere? They can't contain it. Torres looked up from the laptop. General, if you do this, your career is over. You'll be investigated. Maybe prosecuted for unauthorized disclosure. I know. Then why? Vance looked at Maya. Because some things matter more than careers. Some fights are worth losing everything for. Maya held her gaze, saw the determination there, the acceptance. When? Maya asked. 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Every network, every paper, everywhere. Carver will know it was you. Let him. The dossier went live at 0600 hours exactly. By 0615, it was trending on every social media platform. By 0630, cable news had picked it up. By 0700, senators were calling for investigations. By 0800, Carver was in custody. Maya watched it unfold from the safe house, flipped between news channels, saw Carver's face on every screen, saw reporters camped outside the Pentagon, the Capitol, Mercy Ridge Hospital. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. Yes. Captain Reeves? A voice she didn't recognize. Male, professional. This is Deputy Director Mitchell, FBI. I'm calling to request your cooperation in our investigation of Senator Carver. What kind of cooperation? Testimony. You were embedded at Mercy Ridge Hospital. You witnessed the network firsthand. Your statement would be invaluable. I'll think about it. Captain, this is a matter of national... She hung up. The phone rang again. Different number. Reeves. This is CNN. We're doing a story on the trafficking network. Would you be willing to go on record? She hung up. It kept ringing. She turned it off. Keller walked into the room. You're famous. I'm notorious. There's a difference. Fair point. He sat across from her. What are you going to do? I don't know. Vance is being called to testify before Congress. Torres says the FBI is opening cases on everyone on that list. This is going to drag on for years. I know. And you're going to be at the center of it. Every lawyer, every reporter, every conspiracy theorist, they're all going to want a piece of you. Maya looked at him. What would you do? Keller thought about it. I'd tell the truth. All of it. No matter who it hurts. Because if you don't, someone else will tell their version. And their version won't be accurate. That's very noble. It's practical. Lies have a way of catching up to you. Truth is cleaner. Maya's phone buzzed. Even powered off, emergency messages could get through. She turned it on. Text from Vance. Congressional hearing scheduled for Monday. They want both of us. Your choice if you attend. But I'm going, and I'm telling them everything. Thought you should know. V. Maya stared at the message. Monday was 3 days away. She looked at Keller. How's your shoulder? Better. Why? Because I need a favor. Mercy Ridge Hospital looked different in daylight. Less intimidating, more human. Maya walked through the main entrance. Civilian clothes, no disguise, just herself. The lobby was busy. She navigated through, found the elevators, went up to the 4th floor, the administrative wing. She found the office she was looking for, knocked. Come in. Maya opened the door. The young nurse from the ER, the one who'd questioned Langford, who'd hesitated but spoken up, was sitting behind a desk. Charts spread out in front of her. She looked up. Her eyes went wide. You, she said. Me, Maya agreed. I saw you on the news, the whole network thing, Senator Carver. I can't believe… She stopped. Sorry, that's not professional. It's honest. I'll take honest over professional any day. The nurse stood, extended her hand. I'm Jennifer Oakes. I don't think we were ever properly introduced. Maya shook it. Elena Reeves. But you probably knew that already. Everyone knows that now? Jennifer gestured to a chair. What are you doing here? Maya sat. I wanted to see how things changed after everything. Changed? Jennifer laughed. Changed is an understatement. New chief of staff, new ER director, new oversight committee. We have mandatory ethics training now, anonymous reporting systems. The whole culture is different. Better? A lot better. People actually listen now. When you speak up, they don't shut you down. She paused. You did that. By refusing to stay quiet. I just did my job. No. You did more than that. You showed us what it looks like to stand up when it's hard, when it costs you something. Maya looked around the office. They promoted you. Assistant nursing coordinator started 2 weeks ago. Jennifer smiled. I almost turned it down, thought I wasn't ready, but then I remembered what you said about speaking up, about it being easier the second time. Is it easier? Yeah, it is. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Can I ask you something? Jennifer said. Sure. When you were here, undercover, did you ever regret it? Going against Langford? Risking everything? Maya thought about it, about the moment in the trauma bay when she'd had to choose between protocol and a life, about every choice after that. No, she said. I've never regretted doing the right thing. I've regretted not doing it sooner, but never doing it. Jennifer nodded slowly. That's what I needed to hear. Maya stood. I should go. Will you testify? At the congressional hearing? I don't know yet. For what it's worth? I think you should. Not because you owe anyone anything, but because your voice matters, and there are people who need to hear it. Maya left the hospital, walked back to her car, sat behind the wheel for a long time, then pulled out her phone, typed a message to Vance. I'll be there Monday, and I'm bringing everything. The response came fast. Good. See you there. Wear something that pisses them off. V. Maya smiled. Monday morning, Hart Senate Office Building, room 216. The hearing room was packed. Senators, press, observers, security everywhere. Maya walked in wearing her dress uniform. Full decorations, combat ribbons, every medal she'd earned. The whispers started immediately. She took her seat at the witness table. Vance was already there, also in uniform. They didn't speak, didn't need to. The committee chairman banged his gavel. This hearing will come to order. We're here today to investigate allegations of corruption, trafficking, and abuse of power within military medical facilities. Our first witness is General Sarah Vance. Vance stood, was sworn in, sat. General Vance, the chairman began, you initiated this investigation without authorization. You leaked classified information to the press, and you circumvented your chain of command. Do you deny these accusations? No, sir. I don't. Then why should we believe anything you say? Because unlike some people in this room, I don't have a financial interest in covering up the truth. The room went silent. The chairman's face reddened. That's a serious accusation. It's a factual statement. Senator Carver sat on this committee for 12 years. During that time, he approved contracts worth billions to companies that were trafficking patients and selling intelligence. He knew, he profited, and when someone threatened to expose him, he tried to have them killed. That's alleged. No, sir. It's proven. We have recordings, transactions, testimony, all of which will be entered into the record. She slid a thumb drive across the table. The chairman didn't touch it. Another senator spoke up. General, even if what you're saying is true, you broke the law. You violated protocol. How can we trust someone who operates outside the system? Because sometimes the system is what needs to be fixed, Vance said, and the people inside it are too comfortable to do it. The hearing went on for 3 hours. Senators asked questions. Vance answered, didn't flinch, didn't hedge. Finally, the chairman turned to Maya. Captain Reeves, you were the embedded operative. Tell us what you witnessed. Maya stood, was sworn in, sat. She looked at the committee, saw some faces she recognized from the dossier. People who'd been on the list. People who'd looked the other way. I witnessed a network of corruption that valued money over lives, she said. I saw doctors who put profit before patients. I saw military personnel who sold out their own people. And I saw civilians who were trafficked, tortured, and killed because someone decided they were worth more as commodities than as human beings. And you have proof of this? I have my testimony. I have recordings. I have documentation, all of which I'm providing to this committee and to the Department of Justice. Why should we believe you? Maya leaned forward. Because I didn't have to be here. I could have walked away. Could have taken the immunity deal and disappeared. But I'm here because the people who died in this network deserve to have their story told. And the people who profited from their deaths deserve to face consequences. A different senator jumped in. Captain, you went rogue. You escaped from federal custody. You assaulted military personnel. Why should we see you as anything other than a vigilante? Because everything I did to save lives. Everything they did, she pointed to the empty chair where Carver would have sat if he wasn't in custody. They did to end them. The room erupted, reporters typing, senators arguing. The chairman banged the gavel. Order! We will have order. The hearing went on for another 2 hours. More questions, more testimony, more evidence entered into the record. When it finally ended, Maya walked out into a swarm of cameras and microphones. Captain Reeves, what's your response to allegations that you acted outside your authority? Captain, do you think General Vance should be court-martialed? Captain, what's next for you? Maya stopped, looked at the cameras. I don't have a prepared statement, she said. But I'll tell you this. I spent 3 weeks watching people suffer because the system failed them. I watched corruption hide behind protocol. I watched authority used as a weapon instead of a responsibility. And I decided that wasn't acceptable. She paused. The people on that list, Fisher, Langford, Carver, all of them, they believed power meant they were untouchable, that rank or position or money could protect them. They were wrong. Because at the end of the day, the truth doesn't care about your title. It doesn't care about your connections. It just exists, and eventually, it comes out. So what happens now? A reporter called out. Now. We rebuild. We create systems that value integrity over convenience. We promote people who have the courage to speak up, not the compliance to stay quiet. And we remember that being a patriot doesn't mean blindly following orders. It means having the strength to question them when they're wrong. She walked away. Behind her, the questions continued. But she didn't stop. Vance caught up to her in the parking garage. That was good, the general said. It was honest. Same thing. They walked in silence for a moment. What are you going to do? Vance asked. After all this? I don't know. Torres said the FBI might hire me as a consultant, train agents on undercover work. You'd be good at that. Maybe. Or maybe I'll go back to teaching, combat medics, people who actually save lives instead of just investigating how they were lost. Vance nodded. Either way, you've got options. That's more than most of us. What about you? Me? I'll probably be court-martialed, stripped of rank, maybe serve time. She smiled. But I'll sleep better than I have in years. Was it worth it? Every second. They reached Vance's car. One more thing, Vance said. She pulled an envelope from her jacket, handed it to Maya. What's this? Open it later. Maya pocketed the envelope. Thank you for everything. Thank you for not giving up, even when it would have been easier. They shook hands. Then Vance got in her car and drove away. Maya stood in the parking garage for a long moment, then opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. Captain Reeves, you once asked me if the officer I knew, the stubborn one who refused orders he didn't agree with, was right. I told you he was. That officer was your father. He died doing what he thought was right, exposing corruption, fighting for people who couldn't fight for themselves. You're more like him than you know. Don't ever stop. Vance. Maya stared at the note. Her father. She'd never known the details, just that he died in service. Honorably. That's all they'd told her. Now she understood. She folded the note, put it back in the envelope, and walked to her car. 6 months later, Fort Benning, medical training facility. Maya stood in front of a new class, 30 students this time, more than before. My name is Captain Elena Reeves, she said, and before we start, I want to make something clear. This training isn't just about medical procedures. It's not just about saving lives on the battlefield. It's about understanding that sometimes the greatest threat isn't the enemy in front of you. It's the corruption behind you, and having the courage to address both. A hand went up. Ma'am, how do we know when to speak up? You'll know, Maya said. Because your instincts will scream at you. Your training will tell you something's wrong, and you'll have a choice. Stay safe and stay quiet, or risk everything and speak up. Which one did you choose? Another student asked. Maya thought about Mercy Ridge, about Holt bleeding out, about Vance burning her career to expose the truth, about her father doing the same thing years before. I chose to speak up, she said, and I'd make the same choice every time. The class was silent. Now, Maya said, let's talk about trauma protocols, because the best way to fight corruption is to be so good at your job that no one can ignore you when you point out what's wrong. She turned to the board, started teaching. Behind her, the students leaned forward, ready to learn, ready to become what the system needed them to be. That evening, Maya walked across the base, watched the sun set over the training fields. Her phone rang. Jennifer Oakes. Hey, Maya answered. Hey, I know you're busy, but I wanted to tell you something. Go ahead. We just hired 3 new nurses. All of them cited you as their inspiration for applying, said they wanted to work somewhere that valued integrity. Maya smiled. That's good. It's more than good. It's proof that what you did mattered, that it's still mattering. Thanks for telling me. One more thing. The hospital board wants to create an award, the Elena Reeves Award for Medical Excellence and Ethical Leadership. They want to give it annually to someone who exemplifies both. Maya stopped walking. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Let your name stand for something. Let it remind people what courage looks like. Maya thought about it. Thought about all the people who'd stayed silent, all the people who'd spoken up, all the lives that hung in the balance. Okay, she said. Yes. Good. I'll let them know. They talked for a few more minutes, then said goodbye. Maya stood on the empty field as darkness fell. Thought about her father, about Vance, about everyone who'd sacrificed something for the truth. She'd spent her whole life trying to serve, to be useful, to make a difference. And now, finally, she understood what that really meant. It wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about following every rule. It wasn't about staying safe. It was about standing up when others sat down, speaking up when others stayed silent, risking everything when it mattered most. Her phone buzzed one more time. Text from an unknown number. Heard you're training the next generation. Good. They're going to need what you have. Keep fighting. Holt. She smiled, typed back, always, then pocketed her phone and walked back toward the base. Tomorrow she'd teach another class. Next week she'd testify in another trial. Next month she'd face whatever came next. But tonight, standing under the stars on a military base where the next generation of medics was learning to save lives and fight for what's right, Maya Reeves, Captain Elena Reeves, felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not because the fight was over, but because she'd finally learned how to fight it the right way. And that was enough. In Washington, the trials continued. Carver was convicted on 43 counts, sentenced to 30 years. Fisher took a plea deal. Life in prison, no parole. Langford lost his medical license. Faced state charges. The others on the list fell one by one. Some went to prison, some fled. None escaped justice. Vance was reprimanded but not court-martialed. The public outcry was too strong. She retired with full honors, became a private consultant, spent her time training the next generation of military leaders to value ethics over expediency. Keller was promoted, ran a task force dedicated to rooting out corruption in federal agencies. Torres became a division chief, built cases that couldn't be buried, and Maya kept teaching, because in the end, the best revenge against corruption wasn't punishment. It was making sure the next generation was too smart, too ethical, and too brave to let it happen again. Years later, a young medic approached Maya after class. "Ma'am, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "When you were at Mercy Ridge, when you went against Dr. Langford, were you scared?" Maya thought about it, about standing in that trauma bay, about the moment she'd had to choose. "Terrified," she said. "But you did it anyway." "I did it anyway." "Why?" Maya looked at the young medic, saw the same uncertainty she'd felt, the same fear, the same determination. "Because someone's life depended on it," she said, "and in that moment, my fear mattered less than their survival. It'll be the same for you someday. You'll have to choose between what's safe and what's right. And when that moment comes, I hope you remember this conversation. I hope you remember that being scared doesn't mean you're weak. It means you understand the stakes. And choosing to act anyway? That's what courage looks like." The young medic nodded slowly. "Thank you, ma'am." "Don't thank me. Just pass it on." The medic walked away, and Maya smiled. Because that's how change really happened. Not in grand gestures or dramatic moments, but in quiet conversations, in small decisions, in one person choosing to stand up, then teaching someone else to do the same. She'd been dismissed as just a nurse. She'd been koitung, underestimated, overlooked, pushed aside. But she'd proven that real power didn't come from rank or title. It came from refusing to accept injustice, from standing up when it cost you something, from believing that one person could make a difference. And she had. Not by being perfect, but by being brave enough to try. That was the lesson. That was the legacy. And as Maya walked back to her office, past training fields where the next generation was learning to save lives and fight for what's right, she knew one thing for certain. The fight would continue. Corruption would always exist. People would always be tempted to abuse power. But as long as there were people willing to stand up, willing to risk everything for the truth, there was hope. And hope, Maya had learned, was the most powerful weapon of all. The end.